So Neptune, we are doing December 2025, question 23. That is for the last sitting, where you are given that the Neptune Manufacturing Limited sells its product, 5 products: Orion, Nova, Titan. We have the Vega, and we have what we call the Zephyr, through different vendors across multiple plants. They recently onboarded an enterprise resource planning platform to allow tracking and managing the business data. They extracted sales data for the financial year 2025 is represented in a sheet named 23 data. All values we've been given in what? Shillings. So you are required the data cleaning and the transformation. You are required with advanced power tool on MS Excel is used for complex what? Data transformation. So for complex data transformation, I said we use what we call the power query. We use what we call the power query. So that is what you are to say there to get the 1 mark. Now, power query, generally we talk of it as a data transformation and a data preparation agent. What we mean is that power query, it is designed in a way that you can connect, you can clean, and you can receive data from different sources without coding that data. So we want to see how we can be able to do that, because now what we are required in Roman number 2, you are to clean and transform the given data set using the tool identified in the Roman 1 above to a format that can allow for answering question below. And you are required the approach second must be automated to allow for the auto-fresh of the data model. And this is now the 6th word. So they want to note that the resultant transformed data should have the columns plant, vendor, product, destination, and we have what? The sales. That is what you've been given. So our data is here. If you look at the data, we have the plant vendor. This is now our product. Product together with the destination. The destination, that is what we've been given. So we've been given the sales that were made, equal to. So we can use the power query to transform and clean the data. So we can clean that. This is how we said we first highlight. This is a column. To highlight, you place on Control, Shift, pamoja, arrow to the right, hivyo, and then same without unholding the Control and what we call the Shift. You place the page down, or you can click arrow down. You highlight the data. Once you highlight the data, we said you just come to what we call the data here. Click on data. On data, you can see, sorry, I've not highlighted the data. Let me, oh yeah, it's already okay. So you will click on data there, and then from the range, or you can get the data. Whichever you will use, it will just be the same. So you click on what we call from what? Table range. And this is my table as enders. So you have to make sure that it should be having the enders. And then you click on K. Generally, it will now convert to Power Query. So you give it time to load. Yes, that is now how it transforms to Power Query. So this is how the Power Query allow it to load until it is done. Yeah, that is okay. So from there now, you can now clean the data. In our case, they want us, we have the plant vendor, the product, the destination, and also what we call the sales. So what I said in this case, I highlight, because this one we need them, the first and the second one. You highlight both of them. This is the land and who and vendor. So this is how I do. You click on control, you highlight that. Then we can transform the data. You just click on what we call the transform here. We unpivot these other column, the other columns here. So you click here. Let me have this one. You will just click here on unpivot. You can see unpivot. This is when you are unpivoting all the columns, other columns. These are now the ones that are not selected, and unpivot what is already selected. Here it will just unpivot what is already selected. So we want what is not selected, which is others. So you will click that. When you look at here on this side, whatever the steps that you applied, they will just be appearing here, telling you what you have done. If you don't want to that step to appear there, you can just cancel by clicking this cross. Is that okay? So now, on attribute, this is where we have in the product and the destination. This is our sales. So I can rename these as sales. Let me rename that as sales. So that is how the sales. So on here, we are having both the local and what we call the destination. So I want to separate or to split the product and what we are calling the destination. Destination is either local or export. So how do we do that? To separate this, you will just like click there. You will come to what we call the split column. And this is by delimiter. Delimiter is this dash because of that small dash. So you just come here, click on what we call in the delimiter. That way. Here you can put the negative sign, which is acting as our split text. Then from there, you will come, you click on advanced options. We want to split columns in how many columns? We want to split it in 2 columns. And then once you do that, you can just click what? Okay, that way. So if you look at that, it has separated the product, this is our product. So you can double click there. You change this to product. And then you can also change this. Now this is our destination. Double click. Then you can have this as what? Destination. That way. So that is what we were required to have. The brand, vendor, product, destination, and what? Sales. So once you do that, you will just come here, you transform the data. So here transform, sorry. Once you are done with that, you click on, then you can do what? Close and reload that way. So close and reload data. So this is now the solution. If you close and reload, this is question 20 what? This should be question 23 answer. I'll type with that. That is it. So what you are required is this. We have the destination and export as per the question. So if you look at the question, you are to clean and transform the given data set using the tool identified there, and they required, we have the land, vendor, product, destination, and what? sales. So we've been able to do that. Then we continue. So we can continue. So the other thing is now on the questions there. The questions. So I'll just do them here on this side. Question Roman, this should be question 24. Question B. I'll begin with B. I want to know how do we do that. B. You are required using the transformed data. Roman 1 here was what? Roman 1. You are to create a pivot table. Roman 1, you are to create a pivot table on sales versus product. Pivot table on sales versus product. This is how we said we do. You will just come here. You highlight our data. On highlighting the data, you can place Control Shift, then you place arrow down. You highlight the whole data. Once you highlight the whole data, you will come to what we call the insert. Once you click on insert, you click on what we call the pivot table. This is from the table range. This one, we want on the existing worksheet, and then you just click there. That is where we want it to be. And then you click OK. Once you do that, we wanted the sales per product. So I will click on the product and I will click on what? The sales here. That is the first one. You have prepared the pivot table for sales versus per product. You go to the Roman number 2 here. Again, Roman number 2, we have in it here is this one. So Roman 2, they want a pivot table for what? For the sales vendor, split into either the local or what we call the what? The local export destination or what? On that. So you just come here, you copy this, you will copy that, then paste. This paste. Once you paste that, we want the sales per vendor. So you click on this. Now you eliminate the product within the vendor sales. And this is per destination. You will click on destination that way. So you have to make sure that you have clicked the vendor, destination, and what? Sales. And that is the pivot table for the destination. We continue. Roman number 3. Roman number 3. They want a cross-sectional pivot summary for the total sales in rows and plans in what? Column. So this is it. You just come here, say is equals the required. This one. So they want a cross-sectional pivot summary of the total sales by vendor in rows and in plant. So I will still copy these. Again, you copy that, copy, and then you paste it here, paste. So once you do that, now what we want is a cross-section of this first is for the total sales by vendor, which is the one that should be the total sales by vendor being in the row. So I will click on destination. We don't require it. We need the total sales. This is on the vendor. And this is by plant. Plant being where? On the column. So I'll bring the plant on the column here. What I drag here up to where we have in the columns. That way. And that is how we'll have done that. Remember, we want the total cells. This is for Venter. Venter is supposed to be on the row. These are the Venters. And then we have the plant being on what? The columns. And that is how you are to do that one. That is for Roman number what? Roman 3. Roman number 3. So we continue then. We go to the other question there. The question 20 what? This is question C. Question C. What we were required on question C was using the pivot summary from B. You create this in the same sheet or charts of the following. So of the following. First one they want for what? I will have it here is equals. Now this is they want for a relevant proportional analysis. This is Roman 1, a relevant proportional analysis for the pivot in B Roman what? Now, for proportional analysis, I said we use what we call the what? We use what we call the line chart. And this is how we'll do it. I will just copy this. Let's Control C. I will copy here that way. Once you copy that, you will now highlight this the way I've done. Once you highlight, you come to what we call the insert. When you click on insert, you will see the recommended charts. And if you can read, you can see them there. Like for example, for column, we use it, this chart is usually to do what we call the comparison. So if you are doing comparison here, you use what we call the column or bar chart. If you are doing what we call the trend over years and all that category, in this case we use what? This is the line chart. The bar chart here, we use it to show the statistical analysis. That way, we have also these other charts here. We use it to show the relationship between the data charts. And this one is now to show the proportion. So for the proportions, I'm supposed to use the pivot chart. So I'll just come here. I will go to where we have the pie chart and I click OK. So you can just take your cursor here on that, and then you can adjust depending on how you want it to be. You can even reduce it. That is depending on how you want it to be. That way. That is okay. So that is for proportionality. So proportional analysis for pivot, we use that. We continue. The other one, this is on Roman number 2, which in this case was how much? Or what are we required? Sorry. We are required to show an appropriate comparative analysis for that data. Comparative is you are doing the comparison. So for this is on the data, the second data here. So I will highlight the data again, copy, then you can have the data here, draw V. So as you highlighted the data, you will come to insert, then the recommended chart. We've said for proportionality is just for for comparison, that is the comparatives. We'll use the column chart. So you just come to recommended. Already they are on the column. So I will click on the column. There is a column clustered. We normally use a clustered column, and I will click OK. So once you do that again, place your cursor where that data is, that way. So once you do that, you are done with the question, and you have yourself the 20 marks that were given there. In less than 20 minutes, you are done. That is a good and happy thing of you being aware of BDA. 20 marks. Any question? Any question on that? Any question? So any question on that? The silence means that everyone has gotten that. Is that okay? Is that clear? Is that clear? Oh, Vivian, you are not having the paper? I shared. Sorry for responding late. Can I do something else? I'm asking if there is anyone who is having questions. Charity, Brian, Alberta, Chelimo, Grace, Hilda, Michelle, and the rest. Is everyone okay with that? Yes? Amongei. Is it okay? Can I proceed? Chelimo and the rest. Or the sound is not okay? Simuniambi. What does the silence mean? Silence means what? Concept is well understood, right? Means that the concept is well what? Understood. So that's true. Is well understood. No, so for the other Excel functions that are remaining, I will look for data that we can be able to use them so that we can finalize on them. I will look for data that can help us to finalize on them. But however, for today, let me do on a loan amortization schedule. So I do on the loan amortization, the loan amortization schedule. I want to do the question in August. I want to do a question in August. Think that will help us understand better the loan amortization. So I'm sharing the paper. I'm already sharing the paper. So for those that are not having the paper, you can as well text me. I will just be able to share with you. And sorry for those that have not been able to share it on time. It is okay. So I'm sharing the question of we're doing the loan amortization. Do the loan amortization.